There's no other person on earth that can do the things that you can do. But I walked in that room like I had God right beside me.
When you don't know what the problem is, it can't be fixed.
Don't allow fear to not let you take that step.
The marathon is just about seeing long term, seeing a vision, understanding that nothing worthwhile happens overnight, and just sticking to your script long enough to make something real happen.
Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
What's up? What's up? It's game time. Back with another podcast. Welcome to episode 3 now. As you can see, new location. We in Richmond with it. But yeah, if you're new to the Game Time community, we are a clothing brand, but we're more than just a brand. We're a community of people who are striving towards their goals and just uplifting and motivating one another to go after it. But that's just a little bit about the brand itself. I am Miles Wilson, the CEO of Game Time Clothing. And to the right of me, I have my right-hand man or woman, Raven Lomax.
Oh, well, I'm Raven. I kind of just help Miles out with Game Time. I oversee some of the things he does, kind of like a second opinion. But I'm an artist, so I have some things that I'm working on. Hopefully to come soon.
You did. Say less. Getting into today's podcast, we have another great topic for y'all, I believe. Today we were talking about the start of every process, the fear of getting started. As you can see, the title of this podcast is "The Hardest Part is Getting Started," which is one of the truest statements that could be stated, because a lot of us have these dreams and have these goals in our head that we can see ourselves in, but when it comes to getting started, we have this block, this barricade that's keeping us from making that first step and getting that ball movement to get to that dream or get to that goal that we're trying to get to. So today we're just going to go through a couple of things that we've been through and how we've been able to overcome these fears, or how we're trying to face these fears and get over them ourselves. But yeah, just giving y'all some tips and tricks on how to overcome some fears. So getting into the first segment is understanding fear. So I just want to start off by taking some time just to really understand fear and figure out what it is. What is this feeling that keeps us from going to the places we want to go? Just to get it started, what do you feel as fear is, or what is fear? That's a broad question. What is fear?
Well, I know, for me, fear is something that keeps me up at night. It's something that prevents me from being able to do things. It's something that makes me anxious. It's like a form of negativity that's just withholds me from being able to move forward in life. And it takes a lot of opportunity, or at least tries to take a lot of opportunities and stuff away from me because of my hesitance to move or do anything because I'm scared.
I feel like that's a good definition of fear. Just getting into my relationship with fear, I feel as it's like a hurdle. That's how I think fear is. It's a hurdle, because you see something and you see how high that hurdle is, and you kind of you decide if you're gonna jump or not type situation. So if it's a high hurdle, then you got this feeling like I can't do this. But if it's low hurdle, then low fear, you just run over it. But as you continue to train and practice and build up confidence in yourself, even if the hurdle seems to be extremely high or something in that nature, that fear is lessened because you've been putting in work for the past X amount of years, months, or whatever to get over these hurdles. So that's my best way of creating an analogy of fear is a hurdle that. So yeah, getting into the next question about fear, how do you think fear has handicapped you, as in the sense of not only with physical things like seeing a hurdle and trying to jump over it, but just mentally? Has it ever prevented you from achieving something, or have you been able to be fearful of something and still do it anyway? Or do you have any situations that you would like to share with?
So I do feel like every time I'm afraid, well, not every time, it's kind of split in half. There are some situations where I'm able to overcome my fear and push through anyway because I've realized it's a situation that I might have been afraid of isn't as bad, or because of my fear, I'm not able to perform the way I would like to, or I do things, or just I make decisions and perform in a way that's like less of what I would have done because of how afraid I am. This is like anything with anybody, but like I had a strings concert one time, and I had a solo, and I like never had a solo before, and I was so nervous because I was like first chair, so everybody could like see me, and I practiced it so many times, but I still was like, no matter how many times I practiced it, no matter how good I thought I sounded, I still was afraid I was going to mess up. So because of how afraid I was of messing up, I probably didn't perform as well as I could have because of the fear that I had and how anxious I was to perform because I let it take over my mind. So that's just an example of a situation. All in all, the situation really wasn't that bad. The whole me having to play the solo and everything, it was quick, it was whatever. But sometimes fear does that to you. But once I was done, I was able to look back and be like, you know what, that wasn't that bad. And if I had to do it again, I've experienced it already.
You already jumped over the hurdle type. But going off a situation like that, like basketball, me being a basketball player freaking my whole life, fear is just like something that you can't really get rid of. So like if you're nervous before a big anything, that's good. Like that means you care about what you're about to do and you want to perform well. So the nerves are good. You have to be able to channel those nerves into good energy and not like don't let that nervousness overtake you and have you become a shell of yourself. So like with basketball, I knew I would be so scared of messing up and scared of making a mistake that I wouldn't play to my highest potential or something like that. But after a while, you got to be able to just play. Like, don't fear that you're going to turn the ball over. Don't fear that you're going to make 1,000 mistakes. Just play, and what happens, happens. You're not going to be perfect. That's just the way life is. So might as well put your best foot out, and whatever happens, live with it. Don't allow fear to not let you take that step. Take that step and live with that step no matter what happens. Moving on to the next segment is identifying fear. The first step to trying to overcome whatever fear you're facing is to identify it. What are you actually afraid of? A lot of times we just feel this feeling and we become a shell of ourselves and we just lock up. That's honestly with the basketball thing. I just felt this feeling and I locked up. But after you sit there and think about it, what are you afraid of? I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of turning the ball over and this and that. And once I was able to say that and acknowledge what I was afraid of, I was able to be like, okay, what happens if I fail? If I fail, then what? I get yelled at by coach and that's it. Like, that happens every day. So I might as well try my best and might as well take that risk and play as hard as I can. If I just got to live whatever happens. So just, identifying what are you afraid of? A lot of us are afraid of failure, which is a big one. A lot of us are afraid of rejection. Don't start that YouTube, that podcast because your friends are going to look at you all weird and this not you type person. Don't be afraid of that neither. Some of us are actually afraid of success. Like, if I get to doing this and I get to the top, am I going to be able to sustain this and maintain this? And a lot of times you are, like, you're able to do it. Like, you got to the places you got to for a reason. Everybody gets this imposter syndrome, which I do too. I'm sure you probably experience, especially with us getting this into college and things of that nature. You get here and it looks like everybody got their things under control, when in reality they don't. So you just got to worry about yourself and just do the best that you can, and don't allow fear to handicap you and make you a shell of who you can really blossom and become. So how do you feel about identifying fear, and what do you think the benefits of identifying your fear does for you?
Okay, so once you identify exactly what you are afraid of, you can start like attacking those like categories. So like, let's say you have to give a speech, and you're afraid to give your speech. And it's like, okay, but why am I afraid to give the speech? It's like, because you might not be afraid of what you have to say or people not liking what you have to say. You might be afraid of the fact of just talking in front of people because you feel like you're going to mess up your words. Or it could be the exact opposite. You feel like you're going to speak fine and you can get out what you need to say clearly, but people might not like what you have to say. So once you address whatever you're afraid of, then you can start to be, okay, this is what I need to do to get over this. This is what I need to do to get over that. Because by identifying and addressing a situation, you can fix the problem. But when you don't know what the problem is, it can't be fixed. So, yeah. What fears did you have when you were starting up GameTime? Because I know you had a lot. Because that's a big responsibility.
Starting on GameTime, at first it was just, I wanted to start something new. And then once I got to that point, it's like, all right, now what? Now I got to actually put this out there. I got to show the world that I'm selling t-shirts and things of that nature when I've never been the fashion guy or the social media type guy. Now I'm selling t-shirts. So, like, if I had to identify each fear I was feeling, the first one was the fear of rejection because I'm going to put this thing out there and nobody's going to mess with it. So that was, like, something that I just had a fear of just because I didn't want to be looked at as lame or that's not cool or why'd you even, just things of that nature. But I was able to get over that by saying if I were to drop this, nobody would have buy it or nobody would have care about it, then nobody would have care about it. Like, it is what it is. And then I'm going to say a fear that I'm having now that differs from the beginning is just maintaining. So, like, I was able to grow GameTime and I had a whole bunch of love and support in the community. And now I'm in Charlottesville with a whole different community and I'm trying to, get the brand growing down in that area. So that's just, it's a new situation. It's a new area. So that obviously is going to come with these new fears. So, like, the fear of maintaining GameTime in this new area and restarting it back up is kind of like what I'm going through right now. But I've already went through these fears before, so I'm confident I'm going to be able to get over them and flourish in the new area that I'm in. But getting on to you. You are a new college student, number one, and you're at VCU for art, which is such a subjective field to go into. What are some fears that you have on flourishing in this type of field and just being a new college student in the art program?
So one thing I will say is that the art program here at VCU is absolutely amazing. And one of the things about having going to a school and being in an art program that's absolutely amazing is that you are surrounded by so many talented people whose skill levels are out of this world. They are so talented, and people who are a lot better than I am, which is okay. But when you're looking around at people whose skill level is obviously so much better than yours, it starts to make you feel like, dang, will I ever get there? I don't even feel like I'm good enough to be here. I'm supposed to be figuring out what career I want. If I can't even do art this well, then how am I supposed to get a good career and make money? And that's another thing. So many people are like, you can't make money in art. Da da da. It's like, okay, so what job do I do where I still love doing what I'm doing, but I'm making enough money to be able to just sustain myself, and not even sustain myself, like maybe sustain myself in a little extra. Like, so there's a lot of fears that I have. Right now, I'm definitely struggling with what major I even want to go into because I am undecided in the art school. I have no clue what I want to go into, and that's a fear I have because, like, am I going to figure out what I want to do by the time I get there, and am I going to stay there? So it's just like, it's a lot of things to consider, but you just got to keep going with it. Like, there's always going to be somebody who's better than you, and God has a plan.
Somebody got to be the best, but keep going.
But God has a plan, and I know that it will all work out. But there's a lot of things I am afraid of right now.
So, going back into your point of being in such a strong art school, what benefits do you see in that? A lot of people, they're in a small pond and they're the biggest fish in a small pond. So once you're there, you feel like I've done it all, and then you get dumped into the sea and you're surrounded by bigger fish. So like a term that we used to be, don't be a big fish in a small pond, be a big fish in a big pond type situation. So just how does transitioning to a bigger pond makes you feel like? Do you, I ain't gonna say do you prefer it, but like what benefits do you think you will gain from being around so much talent at VCU?
So being around everybody and being in the program, I already feel like I am, my skills are improving already in the short amount of time that I have been here. And seeing other people's work and seeing how talented other people are and their capabilities makes me want to learn more and do better and put more time and effort into my skills so that I can get better, and be satisfied with my work and what I'm able to produce. So I guess, having those fears and being afraid are definitely my motivation to get better, um, so I don't have to be afraid anymore.
Respect. That's basically what I was trying to get at. That like iron sharpens iron, man. So you got to be able to throw yourself in the fire so that you can know how you will react. Then throwing yourself in the fire will just continue to sharpen you, and you'll get more gifted in whatever craft you're being. So don't be fearful of not being good enough in a situation or not being like the best in the group, because not being the best in the group might suck for the first whatever months or and a half or so, but eventually you'll catch up with the group. But if you were to like, okay, I can't hang with them. They're too much better than me, and you hang out with people that are the same skill level as you, and you're just the best of them, then you're never going to improve. So just keep that in mind with like everything, with teams you play on, people you hang around with, schoolwork that you choose to, a course that you choose to pick. You don't want to be the best in everything you do. You want to have people around you that's better than you that you can learn from and continue to grow off of. So get on to the next segment. We want to be able to integrate God into these podcasts because both of us are faithful people. Faithful people? Is that the word to say? Both of us are devoted Christians. Both of us love God, man. We know the power of God, and we know what He can do for us. So I think it would be wrong not to share what we feel and how we feel He helps us with you all, or how He feels He can help you all. So segment 3 is really, how does God help with fear? And the main thing for me is just the faith that I have in God helps me to be able to ease my fear here, because I'm able to, when I have my strong faith in God, I'm able to trust in Him and trust in His plan, that I'm okay with whatever happens and whatever I'm doing. I know that I'm going to give it 100%, and if God wants this to happen for me, it will, and if God doesn't, it won't. So even if I do fail in this situation, I know that God has a bigger plan in store for me, because God knows all. God's plan is way better than a plan that I could ever create or come up with. But that's how my relationship with fear and God really correlate. It's just having a strong faith in His plan, and knowing that He can get me through knowing that He can get me through anything, or if I need to go through a struggle, that He's putting me through the struggle on purpose. It's just amazing. It just eases the fear. It eases the fear that you have with any situation. A verse that everybody knows is, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper." So just having that in mind and knowing that nothing on this earth can prosper over me, it's another thing that gives me confidence and helps me go throughout my day knowing that I can do whatever I want with God on my side. But you go ahead and talk about how God has helped you overcome fear, or how you lean on God to, you feel me, give you confidence and things of that nature.
If I had to sit here and name all the many different ways God has helped me through fear, we would be here for a while. So I'm just going to simply say that praying and asking God to get you through a situation is literally like the only thing you have to do at that point. Like, once you ask Him to help you, He's going to be there with you every step of the way. It says in the Bible multiple times, do not be afraid. So don't be afraid. You're going to get through it.
Yeah, don't be afraid is basically, this should be the title of the podcast. And if God said it, then it got to be true. So yeah, that's gonna be our daily antidote. I'm gonna try to do some research before each podcast and tie in some verses and things of that nature, just to really tie in Christianity with these podcasts, just to help everybody get a love for God and get deeper connection with God and things of that nature. Do you have any specific examples that you would like to give to the people about how God has helped you through a fear or helped you through anything? Because for me personally, there's this Alex Jean has his songs like "Walking in Faith" or "Faithfully Walking" or one of those songs, and it's like, "I got my bag, I don't need a strap." Like it's a rap Christian song, and it's just before anything, like before I had the EXO competition with Boston with GameTime, and I had to go up there and present my business plan and what GameTime was to this panel of people and things of that nature. And so I was, I'm scared, I'm nervous. I know I've done this a million times, but now it's like, it's official, it's money on the line. I got people looking at me and things of that nature. So I got this fear in me. But then I just played this song, and as this song just, continued to reassure God's power and reassure God has my back, it really gave me confidence going into the room. I can't explain that confidence I had when I walked into that room, but I walked in that room like I had God right beside me. So just knowing what you can do to have that connection with God while you're going through those situations is a major plus. If it's praying, I know Raven likes to pray a lot. I'm a music guy, so I can listen to my music and it just gets me into that nice vibe. But finding what it is to you to deepen that connection with God while you're going through these fears is something that will really help you get through anything you're trying to get through. But back to you. Did you have any fears that you want to share? And if not, we can move on.
I mean, probably nothing I will share, but I will end with saying, like, there have been a lot of things that I've been absolutely terrified about, things that I did not think I was going to get through, things where I thought that it was over. I'm like, there's no getting out of this. There's no, this situation is just terrible. And God was like, no, it's going to be fine. And I'm sitting here very much so happy, very much so content, and knowing that everything is going to be just fine. So, yeah.
Yes, sir, skis. So yeah, getting into segment 4 of the podcast, the last segment we have today is titled Visualize Your Success. So a lot of times when we're in this fear and we are scared to do something, all we're seeing is the negatives. Like, what if this goes bad? What if I trip? What if this goes wrong? What if, you feel me? Everything that we're thinking is negative. We got to be able to actively switch on, like, what if this goes great? What if I make the game winning shot? What if I, say the words exactly how I'm supposed to say it and it connects with everybody in the audience? So once you start to think those, like, what if the good things happen, then you just have more of a positive energy, a positive vibe going into that situation.
Yes.
And going into any situation with positive energy and positive vibes is 1,000 times better than going in there with negative thoughts in your mind. If you go in there thinking I might mess up, then you might mess up. But if you go in there thinking like, I might perform the greatest thing I ever did, then you have a better chance of performing well. So just being able to switch on that, all right, I'm thinking negative, I got to think positive. Being able to do that consciously is a skill that we all have to work on and we all have to sharpen so that we can go into these situations where we're so fearful with a more positive, a more optimistic vibe.
100%. 100% agree. Been in a lot of situations where I almost avoided doing things or missed out on a lot of opportunities because I was so caught up in like the bad things and so afraid of what could go wrong that I wasn't thinking about all the things that could go right. And I had my fair share of both pushing past that fear and being like, okay, we're just going to do it anyway. And also my fair share of, not being able, like missing out on a lot of stuff because I was so afraid. So definitely being able to see the positive and visualizing an ending that you like and an ending that, works out in your benefit will 100% get you through, that fear and, maybe even worry and anxiety that you have about certain situations. So, yeah.
So yeah, man, just remember that you got this. Like, you're here for a reason. You're in this moment because you got you there. There's no other person on earth that can do the things that you can do. So continue to uplift yourself, think positive about yourself. Remember that God is with you with whatever you do. So to wrap this all up, I just want to go back through everything, the main points of the podcast, so that y'all can go home and think about, what's scaring you right now, and what are you afraid of right now, and just being able to understand that fear is natural, fear is going to be there. Understand that there's no just erasing fear. You're gonna have fear, but fear is a good thing. It gives you energy. It gives you energy, but you gotta be able to channel that energy into positive energy. So the next step, and after you understand that, okay, I'm gonna be afraid. Identify what you're afraid of, because once you identify what you're afraid of, you can understand why you're afraid. Like, if identify if you're afraid of rejection, if you're afraid of success, if you're afraid of whatever, just know what you're afraid of so that you can attack that head on. And the next step is knowing that God is going to be with you no matter what you're doing. So if you're afraid of something, just know that you're not going through it alone. God is going to be right by your side, helping you through each step and being by your side along the whole journey. And lastly, you got to visualize success. And visualize yourself at the top of that mountain with your gold medal, shouting out your mama, shouting out your pops, everybody that was supporting you along the way. Just imagine yourself on top of the world instead of imagining yourself failing. It just will help your spirit, and help your vibes, your energy throughout whatever situation you're trying to go through. But yeah, that's our 2 cents on getting started and overcoming that fear of getting started. So yeah, I hope you found this conversation helpful. Hope it assists you throughout your life, throughout your day, throughout whatever. Yeah, that's all we got for you today. Don't forget to subscribe to GameTime for more inspiring content. And as always, there's never a better time to start than now. Gone.